As a speech title or REAVEL 5 spin tears beloved souls, the universe is governed by divine law. When we align our thoughts, words and actions with that law, abundance flows freely, effortlessly, and continuously. But when we fall into the traps of fear, worry, and waste, we block that divine current that was meant to sustain us. Prosperity is not a matter of how much you earn. It is a matter of how you think, how you feel, and how you spend. Today, let us reveal the 5 spending traps that silently steal your fortune and your peace of mind. The first trap is a spending to impress. Many souls seek approval from others through material display. They buy what they do not need, to show what they do not have, in pursuit of admiration that does not last. This is the great illusion of vanity. When one spends from the desire to be seen, rather than the desire to serve, the energy of money becomes restless and fleeting. Money loves respect, not show. It stays where it is valued, not where it is used for pretense. The law of attraction teaches that like attracts like. If your spending is born from insecurity, you attract more lack. If your spending is born from inner confidence and gratitude, you attract more wealth. Therefore, when you are tempted to buy something for appearance's sake, pause and ask, am I expressing abundance, or am I disguising emptiness? The universe knows the difference. The second trap is a spending from fear. Fear whispers, buy now or you will miss out. It says, what if this is your only chance? And so one purchases not from faith, but from anxiety. Fear-based spending is rooted in distrust of the divine source. The fearful soul believes there is not enough, that opportunities are scarce, that supply must be grabbed before it disappears. But divine supply is infinite. What belongs to you cannot be taken, delayed, or denied. When you buy something in fear, you affirm shortage. When you wait in faith, you affirm abundance. The universe rewards patience, not panic. So before you spend, ask your inner voice, am I guided by peace or driven by fear? For every purchase made in fear tightens the chain of limitation, while every act born in trust opens the gate of increase. The third trap is us spending in forgetfulness, the careless habit of not knowing where your money goes. Many people wonder why prosperity escapes them, yet they let their coins slip away unnoticed. They do not bless their earnings, nor direct them with intention. Money, like all energy, requires direction. When you spend unconsciously, you scatter your power. When you spend consciously, you multiply it. Every coin carries vibration. When you use it wisely, you send out a current that returns tenfold. Each dollar is a seed. Plant it with gratitude, and it will grow. Throw it away thoughtlessly, and it will vanish like dust in the wind. The wise steward honors the law of order. Keep your accounts clear, your thoughts clean, and your gratitude constant. For the universe mirrors order. Where there is chaos, there is loss. Where there is structure, there is increase. The fourth trap is spending from guilt. Many souls give or spend not from love, but from the need to please others, to avoid conflict, or to feel worthy. This is false generosity. True giving flows from joy. False giving flows from fear of disapproval. When you spend or give to be liked, you betray the divine self within you. You are not called to spend to earn love. You are called to express love through wise giving. Every time you say, yes, when your spirit means, no, you spend not only money but also your power. The universe cannot bless that which is done against inner truth. Remember, divine law supports sincerity. You owe the world only love, not indulgence. Give with a cheerful heart, not a guilty hand, and the universe will multiply it back to you. But if you give in guilt, you affirm lack, and the circle of abundance remains incomplete. The fifth and final trap is spending without faith in divine replenishment. This is the root of all financial struggle. Many hold tightly to what they have, believing that to save is safety, and to give is danger. But the miserly heart closes the channel of increase. To hoard is to distrust the infinite source. The universe operates on circulation, money must move to multiply. Yet, this does not mean reckless spending. It means spending in faith, with purpose, knowing that every good use of money sets a greater good in motion. When you bless your spending and see it as an investment in divine flow, it returns multiplied. But when you spend in fear of never having again, you command scarcity to remain your companion. The law of prosperity is faith. To say, I always have enough, is to invite the universe to prove it. To say, I must hold on or I will lose, is to invite the loss you fear. These 5 traps, impression, fear, forgetfulness, guilt, and disbelief, are the silent thieves of abundance. Yet, when revealed, they lose their power. Awareness is the beginning of mastery. When you spend with intention, faith, and joy, you harmonize with divine law. Your money becomes a servant, not a master. Every purchase becomes a prayer of gratitude. Every coin becomes a seed of increase. Prosperity begins in the mind, and spending is its reflection. The law is clear: whatever you bless, increases; whatever you misuse, disappears. Bless your money. Bless your choices, and bless your path, and the universe will pour its treasures without measure into your life. To spend with intention, not impression, is to align yourself with the divine current of true prosperity. Every act of spending carries an unseen vibration, a message sent to the universe, declaring the state of your inner world. When one spends with the desire to impress others, that act springs from insecurity, fear, and separation from the divine source. The soul that seeks approval through material display forgets that wealth is not measured by what is shown but by what is felt. By the peace, faith, and gratitude that dwell within. The need to impress is the whisper of the ego, a fragile mask that tries to cover the fear of not being enough. But the universe does not reward illusion, it responds only to authenticity. True wealth does not need to announce itself. It shines quietly through confidence, serenity, and purpose. When your purchases are guided by divine intention, rather than public opinion, you honor the law of substance, and substance returns to you multiplied. Spending to impress often comes from the belief that value is external, that the opinions of others determine your worth. This belief is an error in consciousness, for your worth is divine and cannot be increased by possessions or diminished by lack. The soul that knows its worth spends not to prove, but to express. Every purchase becomes an extension of one's truth. When you buy something from the desire to show your status, you place your power in the hands of others. You let their perception dictate your actions. This is spiritual poverty disguised as abundance. Yet when you spend from a place of inner knowing, your actions declare your independence from illusion. You move in quiet confidence, understanding that prosperity is not performance, it is alignment. The person who spends to impress is always empty, because admiration fades, and the void returns. But the one who spends with intention feels complete, because every choice reflects purpose, not pressure. To spend with intention is to pause before every transaction and ask, does this reflect who I truly am? Does it serve my growth, my peace, my calling? Such questions awaken consciousness. Most people move through life in a daze, buying what they are told to want, chasing symbols of success rather than its essence. But divine intention requires awareness. It demands that you see every coin as sacred energy, an instrument of creation. When you spend from awareness, your money becomes a seed planted in the soil of divine order. It will grow, because it has been guided by faith, not ego. The universe respects the wise steward, who honors the flow of energy. Intention transforms spending into prayer, and prayer always returns multiplied blessings. To act without intention is to scatter your energy, to act with intention is to concentrate it into power. Consider the energy behind your purchases. When you buy clothing, do you seek validation or expression? When you dine, do you eat from gratitude or gluttony? When you gift others, do you give from love or obligation? Every answer reveals your vibration. To spend with intention is to purify that vibration until it matches abundance itself. The law of attraction answers vibration, not words. You may affirm prosperity, but if your spending reflects fear or vanity, the universe reads the truth of your energy. Intention bridges the gap between thought and manifestation. When your intention is clear, your results are pure. When your intention is muddled, your results are confused. Therefore, spend only when peace accompanies the act, for peace is the signature of divine guidance. The hurried purchase, the competitive gesture, the anxious indulgence, these are signals of ego at work, and ego always leads to emptiness. The divine mind leads to expansion, never depletion. There is a hidden strength in restraint, not the restraint of fear, but of wisdom. When you refrain from spending to impress, you do not deprive yourself. You preserve your power. Every dollar you withhold from vanity is a declaration of mastery over illusion. The ego cries, "Buy this," so they will notice you. The spirit whispers, "You are already seen." The ego says, "Show them your worth." The spirit replies, "Your worth was never in question." To spend with intention is to choose spirit over ego, faith over fear, authenticity over appearance. It is to understand that true abundance flows where truth resides. The individual who governs their spending with intention radiates quiet confidence that no possession can equal. They walk through life knowing that what they have is enough, that what they seek is on its way, and that nothing external can complete them. Spending to impress is a form of competition, and competition belongs to the realm of limitation. When you compare yourself to others, you vibrate in lack, for comparison declares that someone has more and you have less. But intention lives in the realm of infinite supply, where no one's gain diminishes another's. To live with intention is to trust that your journey is divinely designed, that your timing is perfect, and that your blessings are uniquely yours. The energy of intention says, "I spend because I am guided, not because I am pressured." The energy of impression says, "I spend because I must prove." The first creates freedom, the second creates bondage. The one who spends with intention never fears loss, because they know that every outflow is met by inflow. According to divine law, the one who spends to impress always fears running out, because they have mistaken approval for abundance. Approval fades, but abundance remains. To master the art of intentional spending, one must cultivate inner stillness. Before every purchase, breathe and connect to the divine source. Ask whether this use of energy will bring joy, peace, or purpose. If the answer is yes, proceed with gratitude. If the answer is no, step back in trust. What you refuse in wisdom returns in better form. The universe respects discipline, for discipline is faith in action. When you direct your money with awareness, you communicate to the universe that you are ready for more. You demonstrate maturity in stewardship, and divine law always rewards the wise steward. The careless spender leaks energy, the intentional spender channels it. And what is channeled multiplies. Money is not only material. It is spiritual energy shaped by thought, emotion, and intention. Therefore, let every expenditure be a reflection of your divine self, not your wounded self. The wounded self seeks to be noticed. The divine self seeks to express truth. The moment you decide to stop spending to impress, you break a powerful illusion that governs much of the world. Society teaches that value is visual, that status equals success. But divine law teaches that value is invisible, that peace equals power. When you buy less but with more meaning, you shift from quantity to quality, from outer display to inner dignity. This is not austerity but alignment. The wise soul enjoys beauty, comfort, and luxury, but does so without attachment or performance. They understand that abundance is a vibration, not an exhibition. You can wear simplicity and still radiate prosperity, because your aura speaks louder than your attire. Intention beautifies everything it touches. A modest meal shared in gratitude carries more divine richness than a lavish feast born of pride. A small gift given with sincerity carries more power than an extravagant one given to impress. Intention sanctifies the act, turning the ordinary into the miraculous. Every time you choose intention over impression, you strengthen your magnetic field of abundance. You affirm that you are not driven by the opinions of the world, but guided by the voice within. The more you honor this voice, the clearer it becomes, and soon your spending becomes effortless harmony with divine flow. You no longer buy to fill emptiness, you buy to extend joy. You no longer seek status, you express substance. You no longer chase admiration, you attract respect. The law of life is precise: whatever is spent with faith returns multiplied. Whatever is spent with fear returns diminished. Therefore, intention is the gateway to increase, while impression is the doorway to depletion. To spend with intention is to live as a master of energy, not a servant of ego, to walk in divine order, and to let every coin you release carry the vibration of peace, gratitude, and purpose to replace fear-based spending with faith-based circulation is to step into the rhythm of divine abundance, the unseen current that moves all supply through channels both visible and invisible. Many souls live bound by the illusion of scarcity. believing that money is a limited resource that must be hoarded, grabbed, and guarded. This belief births anxiety, and anxiety corrupts the natural flow of prosperity. When you spend in fear, you declare to the universe that you do not trust its infinite provision. You affirm lack, and what you affirm expands. Fear-based spending often appears in disguise. It may look like urgency, like the desperate impulse to buy before an imagined loss, or the tight grip that resists generosity because of what might happen tomorrow. In both cases, fear governs your relationship with supply, and wherever fear rules, faith cannot breathe. To circulate money in faith is to know that every outflow carries within it the promise of return, that divine law never allows giving without receiving, and that what you release with trust will come back multiplied. Fear-based spending is a state of consciousness rooted in the false belief that you are separate from the source of all supply. You see yourself as a small being, trying to control an unpredictable world. But the truth is that supply flows through you, not to you. You are a vessel of divine abundance, not a beggar at its gate. The fearful spender lives in survival mode, constantly worrying whether there will be enough. This worry poisons the mind and blocks creative ideas, for divine inspiration does not flow through a closed channel. The more one fears, the smaller the channel becomes. Faith, on the other hand, opens the channel wide. Faith says, "The universe is my bank, and it never fails." Faith knows that money is merely one expression of the divine current that takes care of all needs, and that when you align with this truth, you become a magnet for supply. To live by faith is to see every purchase, every bill, every act of giving as part of a sacred cycle that moves blessings in and out of your life with perfect timing and balance. When fear controls spending, every transaction becomes an act of tension. You feel anxiety as money leaves your hand, imagining that you are losing something valuable. Yet, this is an illusion, for money is energy and energy cannot be lost. It only changes form. Faith-based circulation transforms spending into cooperation with the universe. You release money joyfully, knowing it will return through another avenue. You do not cling, because clinging suffocates the flow. You do not waste, because waste is ignorance of value. Instead, you give, spend, and save in harmony, with awareness that divine law governs every outcome. The fearful mind says, "If I give, I will have less." The faithful mind says, "As I give, I receive more." The fearful mind says, "I must buy now before the opportunity disappears." The faithful mind says, "If it is mine by divine right, it will come easily." One creates struggle. The other creates peace. The vibration of fear contracts your energy, while faith expands it. Money follows energy. When your energy is tight, your supply becomes limited. When your energy is open, your supply increases. Faith-based circulation is not reckless spending. It is intelligent cooperation with divine law. It means acting with inner peace, guided by intuition rather than panic. When you feel compelled to buy out of fear, fear of missing out, fear of losing value, fear of being left behind, you are stepping out of divine alignment. But when you act from faith, you feel serenity even before you see results. The energy of peace itself becomes a magnet for opportunity. Prosperity does not come from effort alone. It comes from the vibration behind the effort. Faith radiates assurance, and assurance attracts abundance. Fear radiates worry, and worry attracts delay. To shift from fear to faith is to shift from scarcity to sufficiency, from grasping to gratitude. Faith-based circulation begins with the understanding that giving and receiving are one motion. The open hand that gives freely is the same hand that receives freely. When you give or spend in fear, you close your hand and block the return. When you give or spend in faith, you open your hand and invite the flow. This applies to all forms of circulation: money, love, ideas, time. The universe abhors stagnation, it rewards movement. Just as blood must circulate to keep the body alive, money must circulate to keep prosperity alive. Fear freezes the current, faith sets it in motion. When you bless every outgoing payment, you bless the entire circuit of abundance. You transform an ordinary act into a spiritual one. Paying a bill becomes a statement of trust. I am grateful that I had the supply to meet this need, and I trust that new supply is already on its way. This attitude of faith sanctifies every transaction and ensures that the cycle continues without interruption. Fear whispers lies about the future. It says, you must hold on, for tomorrow is uncertain. But faith knows that tomorrow is already cared for. When you move in faith, you no longer need to control every outcome. You release and allow. You understand that the universe has perfect accounting, and nothing you give in love can ever be lost. Many believe that saving is safer than circulating, but hoarded money, like stagnant water, loses vitality. There is wisdom in saving with intention, but there is danger in saving with fear. The difference lies in the motive. Faith-based saving says, I store this for wise use in the perfect time. Fear-based saving says, I must keep this or I will never have again. One flows with divine order. The other fights it. When you trust that divine supply is infinite, you no longer cling to what is finite. You begin to live in a state of calm assurance that all needs are met, often before you even ask. To spend in faith is to act as a steward, not an owner. Ownership breeds attachment, stewardship breeds gratitude. You do not truly own money, you manage divine energy temporarily for the greater good. Faith transforms spending into service. You buy what uplifts, you give where it blesses, and you hold only what you can bless. This mindset keeps you in the vibration of prosperity. Fear-based spending says, I must take care of myself before others. Faith-based circulation says, as I take care of others, I am cared for. The universe responds to giving hearts faster than to grasping hands. The more you circulate in faith, the more channels open for your increase. Opportunities, ideas, and unexpected blessings begin to appear, because you have proven that you trust the law of flow. Fear closes doors, but faith opens windows. When you feel the impulse to spend in fear, pause and breathe. Ask your inner guidance, am I acting in trust or intention? The answer will come through your body, for the body knows truth. Fear tightens, faith relaxes. When you release money and feel expansion, you are aligned with divine law. When you release money and feel contraction, you are resisting it. The universe communicates through feeling, not through numbers. You could have little and feel rich, or have much and feel poor. It is all determined by your vibration. Faith-based circulation begins with inner wealth, the knowing that you are provided for, loved, and supported by infinite intelligence. When you rest in that awareness, your outer world begins to mirror it. Supply becomes steady, opportunities multiply, and your spending becomes guided, joyful, and fruitful. The practice of replacing fear with faith must be consistent. Each time you act in trust, you build spiritual muscle. Each time you act in fear, you reinforce limitation. The path to prosperity is not in doing more, but in believing differently. Faith is a habit of thought, a choice repeated until it becomes your nature. As you learn to circulate with peace, you will notice that life itself circulates more smoothly. Delays shorten, needs are met with ease, and unexpected blessings appear just when they are required. The world will call it luck, but you will know it is law. Fear asks, what if I lose? Faith declares, what if I gain? Fear counts what it has and worries about what it lacks. Faith blesses what it has and knows more is coming. When you spend in faith, you are never empty, for faith fills every vacuum it creates with divine abundance. To direct money consciously through gratitude and divine order is to recognize that every unit of currency is a living force, an extension of universal energy that responds to the vibration of your thoughts and feelings. Money is not merely a tool of exchange, it is a symbol of flow, and flow obeys intention. When you handle money with awareness, you align yourself with divine law, which governs all increase. Conscious direction means that every act of earning, saving, giving, or spending is done with mindfulness and appreciation. Most people move money blindly, reacting rather than creating, unaware that each careless action sends confused signals to the universe. But the conscious soul knows that order is the language of prosperity, and gratitude is its music. Together, they form the frequency that calls abundance into being. When you direct money through gratitude and divine order, you move beyond survival into stewardship, where your finances become an instrument of purpose rather than pressure. Gratitude is the golden key that unlocks increase. When you bless what you have, no matter how small, you magnetize more of it. Complaining about lack shuts the door to greater supply, while gratitude opens it wide. The universe cannot deliver more to one who despises the little they already possess. Every coin, every note, every opportunity should be greeted with thanksgiving. The attitude of, not enough, creates more scarcity. The feeling of, more than enough, multiplies prosperity. Gratitude transforms the mundane into the miraculous. When you give thanks for paying a bill, you affirm that you had the means to meet your obligation, and that acknowledgement sets the tone for continued provision. When you bless your wallet, your work, your home, and your circulation of money, you elevate them to higher vibration. Gratitude does not wait for wealth to appear. It creates the condition for wealth to grow. The grateful heart is never empty, because it sees abundance even in simplicity. Divine order is the second pillar that sustains prosperity. Where there is disorder, confusion, or neglect, there can be no enduring wealth. Money is attracted to structure the way water is attracted to channels. It needs direction, clarity, and purpose to flow smoothly. To bring divine order to your finances is not merely about keeping records. It is about aligning your inner world with the principles of harmony. If your thoughts are chaotic, your finances will reflect that confusion. If your environment is cluttered, your prosperity will be obstructed. Divine order begins within. You must organize your mind before you can organize your money. When you act in order, planning, prioritizing, and giving every dollar a clear assignment, you signal to the universe that you are ready to handle more. The law of increase only entrusts abundance to those who demonstrate responsibility. Chaos repels supply because it distorts energy. Order invites it because it channels energy toward constructive use. Conscious direction means knowing that money is not the master but the servant. You tell it where to go, and it obeys the vibration behind your command. If your instruction is vague or fearful, your results will be uncertain. But when your direction is clear and infused with faith, money becomes a loyal messenger, carrying your intention into manifestation. Each time you handle money, you imprint it with your energy. If you hold it with resentment, it departs in haste. If you handle it with joy, it returns with friends. Bless every transaction and release it into divine order. When you receive money, bless it for arriving. When you spend it, bless it for serving. This continual cycle of gratitude keeps you aligned with universal flow. Divine order ensures that you do not misuse what you are given, while gratitude ensures that what you are given multiplies. Together, they form the foundation of financial peace. The soul that directs money consciously does not waste energy in worry. Worry is disorder in motion, it scatters power. Gratitude gathers power. When you are thankful for your current blessings, you become a magnet for unseen ones. To live in divine order is to know that every expense, every inflow, and every opportunity is under divine control. Nothing leaves your life unless something greater is on its way. To manage your money consciously is to cooperate with this truth. You set clear intentions for every resource you receive. You assign meaning to your giving, you define purpose in your spending, and you create structure in your saving. Each act becomes sacred. There is no carelessness, no confusion, no fear. You know that divine intelligence governs every detail, and you move in calm assurance. Money is energy, and energy obeys focus. The more deliberate your focus, the more obedient your results. Gratitude also refines your relationship with desire. When you are grateful, your desires are purified. They arise not from greed but from divine inspiration. Many people crave wealth from a sense of deficiency, hoping that possessions will fill emotional emptiness. But gratitude fills that emptiness before wealth arrives. It shifts your focus from what is missing to what is present, transforming longing into peace. From this state, new ideas for increase emerge naturally. Divine order then arranges circumstances to fulfill these ideas with ease. Gratitude awakens creativity, and creativity is the engine of prosperity. To direct money consciously means to let gratitude guide your desires, ensuring that every goal you pursue serves both your growth and the greater good. When your desires are in divine order, the universe rushes to fulfill them because they serve its harmony. Order in the outer world is a reflection of order in the inner world. Keep your environment clean, your accounts balanced, and your goals defined. The simple act of organizing your finances is a spiritual declaration. I honor what I have, therefore, I am ready for more. Disorder says, I do not value what I possess, and the universe responds accordingly. Gratitude without order leads to stagnation, while order without gratitude becomes mechanical. Both must operate together. Divine order provides structure, gratitude provides soul. One is the container, the other is the light within it. When you combine them, you create a vessel strong enough to hold increase. Money begins to stay where it once slipped away, and opportunities appear that align with your purpose. Prosperity flows toward clarity the way sunlight seeks open space. To live in this consciousness is to view money as sacred trust, not a burden or obsession. You stop chasing wealth and start attracting it through harmony. You no longer feel guilty about abundance because you see it as divine expression. When money serves love, creativity, and service, it becomes a tool of light. Directing money consciously means ensuring that its movement reflects your highest truth. You do not spend from impulse, nor save from fear, you act from balance. You know when to release and when to retain, guided by intuition and gratitude. Divine order whispers the right timing for every decision, and gratitude keeps your heart open to receive guidance. You become calm amid financial tides because you understand the rhythm of giving and receiving. Nothing is random, nothing is wasted, and nothing is lost in divine order. Gratitude is also a shield against envy. When you bless others' prosperity, you multiply your own. To resent the success of another is to declare that success is scarce. To rejoice in their gain is to affirm that abundance is limitless. The grateful soul lives free from comparison, because it knows that everyone's supply flows from the same infinite source. Divine order assigns each person their portion at the right time, in the right way. What belongs to you cannot pass you by, and what is not yours cannot stay. Gratitude replaces jealousy with peace, and peace attracts increase. When you celebrate the good that surrounds you, you align with its vibration. You become a channel for more of it to flow through you. The act of conscious direction extends beyond your own finances. It becomes a blessing to everyone connected with you. The conscious handling of money through gratitude and divine order transforms your life from reaction to creation. You no longer respond to lack with fear or to wealth with arrogance. You respond to all with balance, awareness, and reverence. Every dollar that enters your hands becomes a messenger of trust between you and the universe. You use it wisely, joyfully, and gratefully. You know that to direct money with intention is to direct energy toward expansion, and expansion is the natural state of the divine law. Gratitude amplifies what is given, order sustains what is built. Together, they create prosperity that is not fleeting, but firm, not accidental, but ordained. A prosperity that reflects the quiet power of a soul in harmony with divine abundance.